welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be giving you guys extreme hair growth tips. Now this is an especially interesting video for me just because I went through so much with my hair. I cut it all the time. I used to have it trimmed really frequently, and this recent quarantine, all this time that we were going through quarantine and we were isolated at home, I decided to cut my hair to the point where it didn't touch my shoulders, and that's the shortest it's been in so many years. And so after I did that, I started researching like how I can grow my hair back really fast, how I can take care of it better. And so based off of that research and based off of what really worked for me, I decided to make a video about this and give you guys the best. I'm going to be giving you guys like my hair journey as well. So I'm going to be inserting like pictures of my hair along the way so you can see what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to talk y'all's heads off. Without further ado, we're going to get right into it. So I have it written on my notebook here, which is why I'm going to be occasionally looking down so you know like I'm not being weird. Okay. So for tip number 1 for extreme hair growth, trim your ends. Now I feel like it's a common misconception that trimming your ends helps with hair growth, but it actually doesn't. It just helps with breakage, and that speeds your hair growth up. I know when you go to the hair salon and your hairdressers, they can get scissor happy. They will cut off way too many inches than you actually need. So just make sure you know like what your hair actually wants, and if you want to trim it yourself, you can do that too, because it's really just helping your ends. And if you have really dry hair, I suggest trimming your ends more frequently than someone without dry hair would do, because I know my hair was dry, so I had to get it trimmed way more often just so it wouldn't break that much. But you have to be mindful of that, because I promise you, like, you'll be thinking your hair is growing and then it will break right off. So you got to make sure that you trim your ends in order to keep it healthy. That's mainly for people who have drier hair and have more problems with that though. So you don't have to do it every single month. It definitely depends on your hair type, and it definitely depends on your ends. Number 2 for extreme hair growth, stay away from chemicals. I cannot stress this enough. I'm going to insert a picture here of, I don't know, on either side of my hair before I decided to dye it, before I decided to cut it, and before I put any kind of chemicals in there. It was flourishing in an amazing way. And then I started to be busy, and I dye my hair honey blonde, and then I put highlights in my hair. So when I was about 14, that's when I dyed it, and then I dyed it again. And I wasn't taking care of it in addition to all of that. So it was damaging. You have to make sure that you stay away from chemicals. And I'm not even just talking about relaxers, I'm talking about hair dye as well, because all of that can be damaging to your hair, especially if you don't take care of it. I'm a person that did not take care of my hair, so it was obviously not a good idea to put those chemicals in my hair. But it's not like the worst thing ever. If you take care of your hair, like, there's healthy ways that you can dye your hair. It doesn't mean that it's gonna completely like damage your curl pattern and your hair is gonna be messed up forever. It's just, what I'm saying is like, stay away from chemicals, and if you do, make sure that you take care of your hair even more, because it does have the capacity to damage it. Tip number 3 for extreme hair growth is to massage your scalp daily. This was definitely a key tip for me over quarantine. It's not like I had anything to do, so I literally sat there and like massaged my hair very often. In addition to it helping your hair growth, it's also very therapeutic. So like, I really suggest doing that. But yeah, massage your scalp. This definitely stimulates blood flow, which will definitely help it grow faster. Massage your scalp, and you can massage it under here too. That works really well. Just make sure you massage your hair like all over in order to stimulate blood flow so your hair growth can happen faster. Tip number 4 for extreme hair growth is to check your medications. So I saw that this was a huge deterrent for a lot of people's hair growth. If you are wondering why your hair isn't growing as fast as it usually does, or if you're trying to grow it and it's not really working, I definitely suggest, if you do take medication, to check that, because a lot of medications definitely induce hair loss. Some of the medications I looked up, like birth control and antidepressants, definitely cause your hair to fall out. So if you're taking either of those, or if you're taking medication period, I definitely suggest checking the labels on those, because it can definitely induce your hair loss, and nobody wants that. If you want your hair to grow, you don't want it to just be falling out. So definitely check those medications. I'm not saying stay away from them, because like, if you need it, you need it. But just saying, like, check it. That could be a reason. Okay, tip number 5 for extreme hair growth, castor oil. Now I'm telling y'all, Oil, I think it depends on which hair type you have, but I have thicker, coarser hair, so I definitely suggest castor oil for my girls with thicker, coarser hair, whatever the case may be. I don't know what's in castor oil, but I swear once I was using that frequently on a daily basis, that's when my hair started to noticeably grow the most. And it's just the best oil that I've ever used. It's the oil that I've noticed the most growth with, so I definitely suggest that for you guys. And then just while we're on this topic, real quick, definitely use oil very often. And when you're using your oil, make sure that you use your oil on wet hair. I can't tell you the amount of times I thought I was doing something. I had like completely dry hair, and I would just put oil on it and then leave it at that. But that's not really helping anything because oil is a sealant, it's not a moisturizer. So once you condition your hair, once you rinse your hair, that's when you need to put the oil on it so it can seal in the moisture. So definitely make sure that you're using oil on wet hair and not dry hair because it's not really doing as much as you think if you're using it on dry hair because it is a sealant, not a moisturizer. Okay, tip number 6 for extreme hair growth is basically what I was saying a little bit before. Make sure that you moisturize your scalp as often as possible. So this ties in with the oil, but also make sure that when you're moisturizing your hair, because water is key. Okay, water and moisture is so important in order to get your hair to grow. So that's why, like, when I would wear my hair natural for like a month or so, that's when my hair would grow the fastest as well. So make sure that you moisturize your scalp, moisturize your hair, period, as often as possible. And by doing this, I suggest rinsing in sections. So especially if you have thicker hair, like I said, me, sometimes I physically like lift my hair in the shower in order to get water because sometimes if you're just rinsing it from the top, the bottom of your hair, which is the driest and the oldest part of your hair, you're not getting much moisture to that. So definitely make sure that you lift your hair in order to moisturize every part of it and not just the top part of it. Also, avoid shampooing as much as possible. Shampoo actually dries out your hair. And I'm not saying like don't use shampoo because obviously you need it to clean your hair, but don't use it as much. Like don't use it every single day or don't use shampoo by itself because that can really dry out your hair. Shampoo is just for cleaning, but the conditioning is for the moisture. So make sure that you use them in conjunction with each other or not using the shampoo as much because the conditioner is what's really important when it comes time to moisturizing your hair. That's what's important. And also, make sure that you deep condition. I think deep conditioning, honestly, they tell you to deep condition once a week. Well, actually, they tell you once a month. But if you have drier hair, I definitely suggest switching that up because I definitely think it depends on what kind of hair that you have. I don't think that deep conditioning once a month is like a universal tip for everybody. But still, I suggest like whatever works for your hair, but definitely make sure that you deep condition because it definitely helps your hair get the moisture that it needs. I started deep conditioning and I noticed a huge difference, so I definitely suggest that for you guys. For tip number 7 for extreme hair growth, be gentle with your detangling. This is a huge tip that I need to constantly reiterate to myself because I understand like if your hair gets difficult, you're not gonna feel like sitting there and like parting it and like combing it all beautifully. No, sometimes you just be trying to like get it done and it's thick and it's annoying and I understand your pain, girl. I understand it. So let me tell you, definitely try to be gentler though because that can definitely like rip your hair out. Use your detangling products. I know Aussie Moist is really good for all hair types because everybody that I've heard with different hair types that have used Aussie Moist has something good to say about it, and it definitely creates a really great slip, and it's really easier to brush your hair or comb your hair with that. So definitely invest in Aussie Moist conditioner, or I don't try much products, so I don't really have anything else to suggest to you, but try that. And then detangle wet hair, obviously, like that's kind of obvious. Me, I get my hair sopping wet before I detangle it because I cannot detangle it while it's dry. I don't know if it's supposed to be sopping wet. My hair falls out easier that way, but you know, I don't know. And then make sure that you start from the ends. I feel like that's a very reiterated hair tip. Detangle your hair from the ends. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you start from the root, you're gonna pull your hair off. Promise, because I've done it so many different times. Step number 8 for extreme hair growth, or I'm sorry, tip number 8 for extreme hair growth is to try DIY conditioning. So by this, I haven't tried either of these, but based off my research, I wanted to tell it to you guys: rice water and aloe vera. Rice water, I've seen it everywhere, and so many people with a lot of different hair types have really nice things to say about it. So basically, what it is, you just cook rice and you literally infuse the water and put it on your hair. And you're supposed to do this like, you know, really often, and it's supposed to really help your hair growth like in a short time period. So I definitely suggest trying that for you guys and then letting me know how it went. I haven't tried it yet because I don't know, I haven't tried it yet, but I definitely suggest trying that. Aloe vera as well. I feel like aloe vera works for more than one purpose. It's great for your skin and it's supposedly great for your hair too. So try those DIY conditioning methods. Like you don't necessarily have to use a conditioner as well. Like you can use more natural products like that just to see how it works for your hair. Because it's a long process, like to get your hair to grow. Well, it's not a long process, but it's a process just to find out what your hair likes and what it doesn't. So I definitely suggest going on that journey. It's quarantine, we have time. Okay. Tip number 9 for extreme hair growth is to rinse your hair with cool water. This is pretty self-explanatory. It just strengthens your hair follicles. I don't know if this works for everybody because I used to literally, like, when I'm in the shower and I'm washing my hair, I used to have the hair, I'm sorry, I used to have the water steaming hot. Like, it would be so hot, bro, because I really like hot showers. Like, I like for it to burn my skin. I like to cook my skin. And I would be cooking my hair, too, because it would be really hot. I never cared. But I definitely noticed, like, once I started using cooler water, it made a difference. So make sure that you use cooler water to strengthen your hair follicles because this can help it grow. Okay, tip number 10 for extreme hair growth. This is the most basic, consistent tip that I've heard all my life. Minimal heat. It's just that simple. Obviously, heat leads to breakage, so make sure that you're using the least amount of heat as possible. Like, if you want to straighten your hair, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I love my hair straightened a little bit better than I do when it's natural, so I straighten my hair, but just don't do it very often, obviously. Like, don't be doing it every day, every week. Make sure that you're just giving your hair time to breathe because you don't want to continuously use heat and then that leads to breakage. And another thing, like I said, wearing your hair natural definitely helps it because you're getting moisture to it way more often than you would if it was straightened. So just make sure that you're using minimal heat, as much minimal heat as possible. And if you do straighten your hair by yourself, make sure that you use heat protectants. And then for our 11th tip for extreme hair growth, this is our last tip, and it is to leave it alone. I don't take my own advice on this one. I'm always doing something to my hair because I like to, excuse me, I like to play around with my hair all the time. But I definitely suggest leaving your hair alone. If you don't manipulate it at all, you definitely will notice the fastest hair growth. So I definitely suggest just leaving it alone and using protective styles. That's where all of those things come in, like box braids and buns, but make sure it's not too tight. Just do those kind of things because it will definitely help your hair growth. Definitely make sure that you just leave it alone. So that was our last tip for extreme hair growth. How do I put this? Like, basically what I'm trying to say is that sometimes you can do like everything for your hair and it's still not growing as fast as you want it to. Sometimes it's just literally based on genetics. So don't get discouraged. Like, it's a long process and I understand how it was because for me, like, it was difficult just to literally have to sit and wait for it. But you know, it's a process. It's a process. And the more that you leave it alone, the faster that it will grow. And also, like I'm saying, patience is key. So I wish you guys the best on your hair journey. Let me know if anything that I said you used or you found to be helpful for you. If I missed anything, you know, let me know. I could do a part 2 if you guys want me to. I can't really think of anything else, but I could do more research, you know, whatever the case may be, just let me know. But I appreciate you guys so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your cousins, tell your neighbors, tell strangers on the street, tell everybody about me.